Hey everyone, welcome back to Theonopolis. So today we finally get back into the coaster and I will ramble on about Greek mythology because I don't know, I'm a squirrel. That just got my fancy today. So anyway, hope you liked the video and let's get into it, shall we? So hey again, finally back on the coaster, or at least the queue line to it. And it's weird, like the library, which is not really related, but you can see some lines in like story wise to the library. But from the library, I got a lot of inspiration for the coaster. I think like the most is just like the rivalry between Athena and Poseidon. Yeah, one city can do that. I'm also wondering what would Athens have been named if it wasn't for Athena? Would it be like Poseidonis or something? As always, I like to have a story behind my coasters or just any attraction in the park. So for this ride, I really got into the story that this is like Poseidon's reliquary, because again, I didn't want to make it a temple, but this is like tying into that feeling of a temple without being a temple. It's basically just a place where the priests and all the believers of Poseidon would store the relics concerning Poseidon. So you can imagine that Poseidon really likes this place because it just is all his goodies in one place. You can also imagine how pissed he would be if you stole something. And that's basically the coaster. You try to run away from him, and then that also, like the coaster lift hill and everything up to the first drop really takes you to the library, really takes you to like the place of Athena, which again was Poseidon's main rival in most of mythology. So in a way, I think that would actually have been the safest place for anyone who angered Poseidon, because he can't really do much unless he wants to have a full scale war between all the gods. Because if he attacks the place of Athena, he basically attacks Athena. And of course, other gods would support Athena, other gods will support Poseidon, and then you'll have a war. And I don't think humanity would have survived that, because then you basically have like oceans fighting fire or volcanoes. So I don't think we would have survived that. But yeah, the whole queue line is basically up to the library. Whoa, I've been talking about the library for way too long now. The whole queue line is you going up to the reliquary. Like the whole queue line is basically like a fortress defending the reliquary. Why is that word for me so difficult today? But yeah, and you see like on the fast pass road lane, you know what I mean. You basically see all the gold and all the religious and important objects being transported into this reliquary, and with the normal paths you basically see what happens to all the thieves. It isn't pretty, and you wouldn't survive it if people thought you stole from the gods, because as I said, a war between the gods would be deadly, but just a god on his own would be deadly. So if like a city notices that you stole from the gods or goddess or basically anyone with power, they would do everything to make sure that his or her wrath wouldn't come down on the city. Like Poseidon is the god of the sea, but also earthquakes, so piss him off, and you probably have either a tsunami or an earthquake on your hands. It's also kind of weird, but also kind of interesting that like natural phenomenon for natural disasters were in that way made sensible or something. Like, oh, you have an earthquake, you probably have pissed off Poseidon. Now we just know that it's we don't piss, we haven't pissed off a god. It's just the earth. But back then, nope. Would I'm constantly thinking, would it be cool if those gods actually existed, or would it just be a nightmare? Because first of all, if they existed, then you would have someone to blame for an earthquake or something. But then you would also have like this mentally 3-year old but powers of a god. So 3-year olds are really easy to give a tantrum. And yeah, basically a 3-year old in control of earthquakes and such. But then on the other hand, it's kind of cool having like real gods or real gods. I think you can take that differently than I do. I'm just going to drop that before there's any controversy. I think I'm already too late for that. Basically, what I mean is that there are like real gods that you can touch. Because in those stories, the gods were actually just on top of a mountain. Humans couldn't reach them, but they were still there. And they did interact with humans. According to those stories, but that's what I mean with like real gods. Don't take that as every religion today is not real. It's just most, I think, all the religions nowadays, gods are on this like other plane or god or anything. And in Greek mythology, they were just here. They were crazy and everything, but they were here. Anyways, I'm talking about these gods for way too long. So, as I said, the queue line is basically you going through this fortress, and I try to set it apart from the rest of the buildings because I think the Agora and the harbor area is a bit too friendly, as I would say. So I really wanted to make this fort impressive but also intimidating. Just like the gods. Alright, I really need to stop talking about that. I'm just really into Greek mythology. However, it was slightly annoying to fit in a fast pass spot. Because again, I want to have a story behind it and I want to make the building make sense. So lots of fortresses had like side entrances or like secret entrances. But this one was just so plainly in view that it was just like, this wouldn't be in real world. If there was like a side entrance, it would be hidden as best they could. Because the side entrance is usually not that well defended as like the main entrance, the main gates. So yeah, I just take this side entrance as, yeah, I don't know how I take it. But then there wasn't really any other thing to make of the fast pass, so it's just a side entrance for, I don't know, I think like maybe the guards, like a fast way into town that you don't have to go through a main gate. So yeah, I may have told this already, but I'm a squirrel, so I forget things within 5 seconds. But fast pass really shows the wealth. Main part shows what is done to thieves. And yeah, I also like, because I use like stairs and everything, and it's not that easy to, you know, if things arrive on a wagon, to, you know, you have to either transport all those goods up the stairs by hand, which I don't think those guards or those priests are like, yeah, let's transport all these precious gold and probably breakable stuff up the stairs that way. So I installed a crane to do that. But yeah, that's the main thing of like the fast boss. You see this crane, you see the goods that are being transported into this reliquary. And then in the reliquary, that's going to be a shit show of gold and gems and everything. Yeah. I also quickly, like, I now remember that I still have to announce this, but the secret project is going to be delayed. Because I got recently tipped off on something that might help it improve in quality, because the secret project is set in Theonopolis. It is in the park as I'm building this. It is there, but I need it to be really dark there. So the main technique that many used is to cover it, but I don't have enough space and I don't think it looks that great if I cover it in with dirt. So I recently got tipped up on another way, but I have to wait a bit to, you know, it uses a few things from Team Maker's Toolkit, and I wouldn't say the Team Maker's Toolkit is broken, but it's not really optimalized. Some words today. Optimalized. Yeah. So Frontier is actually working on that, and there is going to be a patch somewhere in March. So maybe like 2 days after the patch, I will release the secret project, because it's mostly already done. It's just like finishing touches and improving the darkness in that area. So yeah, kudos to Frontier for really listening actually to us. Looking at other companies who are really silent, releasing broken games, and yeah, basically destroy franchises. Not dropping names, but yeah. I do keep tabs on other games. Yeah. Now, what was I actually talking about before I had to mention what happened to the secret project? Oh yeah, the other project, or the dark ride in the library, is actually going faster than I thought. So if I have enough time, there will be a video tomorrow. If not, it will be out on Monday. And yeah, it's fun. It's also like the secret project has actually a lot more space. So these dark rides mostly are like really big, and I am really making them tiny, or at least ground space really tiny. Like I think I've mentioned this around 20 times, but first I wanted to build a coaster in the library. Too small, wouldn't be seen. Then a dark ride, which usually takes a lot more space than a coaster, but for some reason that seemed logical to me, to place that in the library. And now I realize I have really almost no space. And I don't want to make the library huge, or it's already huge, so I'm too late with thinking that, but I don't want to make the building 1/3 of the Agora. That's basically what I'm saying. So I really need to think compact, and I really need to think like, how do I disguise this right? And I will probably tell you what the ride is going to be, or what's like the story behind the ride. Because every attraction in my park will have a story behind it. And yeah, I will probably tell that in the video about the dark ride. I will probably also make sure to release the name of the dark rides, because the secret project is a dark ride, but but then also the project in the library is also a dark ride, so that might be confusing. So by tomorrow or by Monday you will have the name of the dark ride in the library, so I can finally refer to it by that name. I'm not saying that because I don't know the name of the project by now, of course. And I'm still just debating on what the name is going to be fully. So yeah. The infamous I forgot the name of it. Queues. Finally. The infamous queues that I can never build, or at least the fences for it. I did make like a small shrine to Alright, let's try this name. Amphitrite, the wife of Poseidon, queen of the sea. Because that's logical to have, besides her husband's reliquary. But I am again probably the worst at making fences, because for some reason that, like, I know how to build buildings, I slowly learn how to build around things, but fences will also always be a problem for me. Eventually I will learn it though. Eventually. 10 years later. With Planet Coaster probably already has a sequel and everything, then I will finally learn how to build a good fence in Planet Coaster. Anyways, the video is coming to an end, so I hope you liked the video. If you do, please subscribe to keep up to date to when I post. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.